You checking it out? Yeah. Good morning. Everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad to have you here. My name is Cameron, if you haven't been here before. I make videos about books and reading and all of this stuff, and my cats make frequent appearances. So, yeah, if you have been here before, I'm so glad to see you back. I decided that I wanted to do a reading vlog this week because I generally read more when I feel like I have someone keeping me accountable. And honestly, isn't that what this channel is just for? Just making you guys be accountable for me. But, so we're just gonna do a pretty basic reading vlog. You'll see clips from every day. I'll give you the stats at the end of the week. That's all I got for you in this intro. Oh, I also got some new plants. Yeah, we will go ahead and get started and talk about what happened this week. Here is past Cameron. Well. It's Saturday night. So, let me break down what I read for you today. I read quite a bit of audiobook. I read 30 minutes this morning and like an hour 30 because I went to go visit my friends an hour and a half away and listened to the audiobook on the way back. The audiobook is Woman Captain Rebel by an author whose name I forget. I'm gonna put it right here so you can see it. But that one's really cool. That is my nonfiction read of the month and I'm really enjoying it. So I read a lot of audiobook today. I should finish it in the next few days. And then I also finished Ursula K. Le Guin's The Left Hand of Darkness, which I started reading 2 days ago. I thought it was very good. I read probably about 70 pages of that. I don't remember exactly. But I read quite a few pages of that. And I honestly really liked it. I, a long time ago, posted a TikTok that was like, hey, someone recommend me authors, specifically fantasy authors, who don't talk about women like garbage. And Ursula K. Le Guin was one of them. And my darling friend Curtis, who is probably watching this video, happened to lend me one of her books. So I got to finish that, which I was very excited about. So now we're like in the evening, and the friends I went to visit was actually Curtis and his wife. He lent me a bunch of other books. So I mentioned in last week's video that I read 5 volumes of Frieren, and he lended me the next 5, which I'm very excited about. And then he also lended me quite a bit of the graphic novel series Saga, which I actually have read before, but it's been a while, so I'm excited to dive back into that. But yeah, so lots of graphic novels, manga, comics, stuff like that. He also lent me a few other comics that I haven't had the chance to look in the bag for. I don't know if you heard that, but my cat just freaked out. Anyway, lots of reading got done today. When you see the little thing that recapped the day, you'll see that I probably read more because I would love to read some more Frieren. So I'm going to do that now, and I will see you all tomorrow. Okay, it is Sunday night. As you can see, the boy is sitting on my lap. I finished the audiobook that I mentioned, which was great. I really recommend. It's a pretty easy to read nonfiction. And then I read 2 volumes of Frieren. So not as much as maybe I should have gotten done today, but I had to do some additional video editing on the video that came out this week. But regardless, still quite a lot of pages. My audiobook I did more than an hour of listening to, and technically each Frieren volume is about 200 pages. So yeah, still quite a bit of reading got done today. I would have liked to do more, but you know, I'm working from home tomorrow, so hopefully I'll get some more done tomorrow. Okay, hi. Good evening, everyone. It's Monday night. I finished 2 more volumes of Frieren, and I got started on Anne of Windy Poplars, which is the 4th Anne of Green Gables book, but it was written last. First of all, I of course really love the Frieren books that I read. I just adore this series. I think it's so fun. With Anne, this book, so this book was written the last. It was written in like the 1930s when the original one was published in like 1909 or something like that. I'll fact check myself. But you could tell it was written like 20 years after the rest of the series. It feels very disjointed. I don't know how much I'm gonna like this one, but I did listen to a pretty good portion of it on my walk today, so that is good. Keeping up with the graphic novel kind of theme, I am gonna go ahead and read this collection of All-Star Superman. I've never read a Superman comic. I am a Batman girly, so I've somehow missed the Superman hype, so I'm excited to read that one. And then of course we got some Spider-Gwen. So I'm gonna go ahead and read hopefully all of them tonight. If not, I'll let you know. And we'll go ahead and do that. And then tomorrow I'm going to try to read the Saga series, depending on how much I can get done, obviously, with these tonight. But yeah, if you haven't noticed, I'm facing it the opposite way, so you don't have to look at me in the same spot in my bed every single night. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and hopefully get those done, and I will give you all an update tomorrow. Hello everyone, it is Tuesday night. My cat is asleep on my chest right here. I have read a little bit of Anne of Windy Poplars. Normally when I do audiobooks, like when I listen to audiobooks, I do it on my walk, but it was chilly today, so I didn't go on a walk, but I did get to listen to some while I was putting up some decorations in my apartment. I've been living here since April. This is kind of a tangent, and I'm sorry. I've been living here since April, and I only just have gotten in the mood to like really decorate. So I've been doing quite a bit of that, but that's an aside. So I listened to a little bit of that while I was hanging up. While I was hanging up posters. But yeah, and then I got in bed and I read the first 3 volumes of Saga, which I have read before. My friend, the friend that I've probably mentioned at this point in the video, Curtis lent me the first like 7 volumes of Saga, so I'm rereading them, but I have read them before. It's very good. It's an interesting series. I like that one a lot, and then I also really like Wicked and Divine. So if you're looking for adult graphic novel series, both of those are very, very good. So yeah, that is all I really have done today. I say that's all I've really done today, but that's still like 500 plus pages, so it's still looking very good. I have difficulty gauging graphic novels versus normal books, because obviously I can read graphic novels far faster than I could read entirely word books. So yeah, that's an aside. I have difficulty gauging. I still have read a lot. I've had a very successful reading week, and I think the numbers are really going to reflect that, but it's because most of the stuff I've been reading have been graphic novels. So I'm probably going to go to bed. Once I finish the next 4 volumes of Saga, probably tomorrow, I will have to try and find a book that I want to read. I might, to keep my really fast track going, I might either reread something I know I enjoy, or I was thinking I might read like a romance novel, because it's been a minute since I've read a romance novel. So I will ponder that a little bit more later, but otherwise that was Tuesday, so I will talk to you tomorrow. Okay, so it's quite late, but here's a very brief update. Today is Wednesday. I read 3 more volumes of Saga, bonk, and I read about 30 minutes of Anne of Windy Poplars. So, see you tomorrow. Okay, so I must be honest with you. I have not done my reading yet, but first I have to get something. Hold on. Gotta get the cat bowl and lock my front door. Okay, so anyway, I must be honest with you. I have not done my reading yet, but it's only 9. So what the plan is, give me a second. The plan is that I'm going to read the final volume of Saga that I have not read yet, which is volume 7. I mean, it's not the last volume in the series, but it's the last one I have. So I want to finish that. And then I have been looking to try a sci-fi book for a while, and I was recommended the Old Man's War trilogy. I don't know if I'll read all 3, but if I like this one, I will try my best. So the plan is to finish the last volume of Saga that I have, and then hopefully get started on this. I did not listen to my audiobook today. I honestly was just busy. And I also had like a bunch of shows to catch up on, so let me know if you guys are watching anything right now, and if you have a TV show for me to recommend. Nope. for you to recommend to me? I am currently watching The Legends of Vox Machina because I've been a big Critical Role fan for a long time. That show is excellent. You don't need to know anything about Critical Role before you watch that if you want a high fantasy based on Dungeons and Dragons type of show. I also recommend The Penguin. I'm a big Batman fan, so I've really enjoyed that. And then I am catching up on Abbott Elementary. Don't post any spoilers. I literally just started season 3 and they're like halfway through season 4 right now. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent, but yeah, the plan is Saga and then start Old Man's War. Wish me luck. Good evening, everyone. Hi, so glad to see you. It is Friday, which is, I believe, the last day of this video. I didn't read as much as I would have wanted to today. It's D&D day though, so I don't normally think I'm gonna read a lot on Fridays, but I read about 60 pages of Old Man's War, which I'm really enjoying, by the way. I'm not normally a huge sci-fi person most of the time. That's why if I ask for recommendations, it's most of the time for a genre that I'm not normally a huge fan of. But I just love this book. I think it's so fun. So I'm really enjoying it. Keep in mind I'm 100 pages in at this point. So that's been good. And that's all the reading I did today. But I did get a new plant shelf over there. We got three new plants just dropped. My pothos is shorter because I have a little propagation station right there. So anyway, that's the updates to my apartment. But but yeah, so not a whole lot of reading, but overall I would say a very successful reading week. So intro cam is gonna tell you more about what's going on. Okay, so let's talk about my stats for this week. So I read 16 books this week, like finished 16 books, maybe I should say. I think I officially read 18, like read portions of 18. But yeah, pretty dang good. So the total pages that I read, obviously not including audiobooks, was 2,904 pages. I read 12 hours total. That's kind of the rough part about reading graphic novels / manga / comics, is I read them so fast that I don't spend a lot of time reading them. So when you're trying to hit like 50 hours in a month, it's a lot harder to do that through reading graphic novels. I would have to read a whole lot of graphic novels to do so. Another thing that graphic novels also skew with is my reading pace. So my reading pace this week was 363 pages. That is not accurate for how I live, how I read books. Like, if I'm reading just an entirely word book, something like this, my reading pace sits closer probably to 130 pages an hour. But because I read almost entirely graphic novels / manga / comics this week, it's just wildly faster. I can read 200 pages of graphic novel in like 30 minutes. So yeah, but that's the reading pace this week. My best day read was 946 pages, and my best day read in minutes, so the days I think I did more audiobook listening, was 201 minutes. And my average star rating for these books was 3.5 stars. So, a pretty good run. I want to say all of the free written copies that I read this month were all either 4 or 5 stars. Yeah, I put them all at 4 stars. Saga mostly sits around 3 to 4 stars. Saga I'm rating a little lower because I've read the series before though, so maybe I just wasn't as shocked or anything. I still think it's a very good series. I just feel a lot more neutral about it than maybe I would in my first read through. But yeah, so those were the big series that I read. Freerin is just lovely. I'm excited to read the next few volumes. I don't currently have them with me, and I know it's also ongoing, so it's not going to be finished anytime soon, but I've really enjoyed it so far. I think I would love to do like a Freerin cosplay at some point, so we'll see. This is not what this channel is, but I've never cosplayed before, so I'm compelled to do it a little bit. But yeah, so those were the big series that I read. So the standalones, I read 4 separate standalones. So I guess I'll just go in order. No, not 4. I read parts of 6 separate standalones, so I'll just kind of go in order. So the one that I finished was Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. I, a long time ago, posted a TikTok that was essentially like, hey, recommend me good fantasy and sci-fi authors that write good women characters. And a ton of people were talking about Ursula K. Le Guin, as they should. She is like a staple of the fantasy genre. but I had never read one of her works. So Curtis lent me Left Hand of Darkness, which is a sci-fi work of hers, but I thought it was really, really cool. I thought she did a really great job doing kind of an exploration of gender, really ahead of its time. I think it came out in the 60s, and there's like a lot of concepts in it that are very, very modern. So I really thought that one was interesting, and I also liked that it was written from an anthropologist kind of point of view. Like, the main character is from a different planet than the planet he's like living in and studying. So I thought that one was really, really good. I gave it 4 stars. I probably will try and pick up Tales of Earthsea, which is like her big fantasy series at some point. So let me know your thoughts on that. If you've read the series and you like the series, let me know your thoughts on that. The cats are fighting. So the next standalone that I read was Woman Captain Rebel by Margaret Wilson, which is the story of a woman in Iceland who just kind of like lives her best life. Like it takes place in the 1800s, which obviously not a whole lot of gender equality, but it's about a woman who just like decides to become the captain of her own ship, and just kind of her life and the people she is involved with in her town. And really, I don't want to get too into it because I don't want to like spoil any of it, but if you're looking for a really cool nonfiction, you should definitely pick that one up. I also thought the audiobook was very, very good. So that's my thoughts on that. I gave that one 4 stars. I actually, now that I'm kind of like pondering it, I might push it up to like a 4.5, because I was enthusiastic to read it, and I go on walks when I listen to audiobooks. And there were several times I would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so invested. I'm so invested in this woman who died like 200 years ago. But yeah, very, very good. So I did read 2 kind of standalone comic volumes. I read the All-Star Superman run, and then I read the first volume of Spider-Gwen. I've always loved Spider-Gwen. I think Spider-Gwen is a great character. She's a big part, obviously, of the movie Into the Spider-Verse in that series, but her comics are very interesting, and I think she's just so fun. So I really enjoyed that. I've read it before, though, so kind of like with Saga, I felt more neutral about it. So I gave that 3 stars. I didn't love All-Star Superman. All-Star Superman definitely suffers from having male writers and male creative team only, because just how Lois was in that annoyed me so badly that I was like, like, All-Star Superman is a run where he like reveals himself, like he's like, hey, I've been Clark Kent this whole time, and Lois is like, stop pretending to be my friend Clark, and it's just like, she's a Pulitzer Prize winner. They say that in that, like, she's smart enough to know that he's not just making that up. I don't know. I was deeply annoyed by that, and then I fear that I'm not a big Superman fan. I did really like, one thing I did really like was, I think I'm gonna sneeze. One thing I really did like, though, was I liked the portrayal of Clark versus Superman. I think they did a really good job with that. But it was not one of my favorites. I just get really annoyed when writers can't write women well. So I wasn't a fan of that. I gave it 2 stars, but I am open to other Superman stories. So like I've read the Injustice storyline, which I know is not like classic Superman, but I really liked Injustice from what I can remember. I read it like 10 years ago. So if you have any Superman recommendations for me, let me know, because I would like to read a Superman comic that like I enjoy. So yeah, and then the other 2 that I'm currently reading, I am reading the 4th Anne of Green Gables book, audiobook, Anne of Windy Poplars. I fear that the author forgot about a lot of her characters, because it doesn't feel the same as the first 3. Now, I haven't read the last 4, but it doesn't feel the same as the first 3, because you can tell there was like a 20-year break in between the writing of like the main series and that. So I am still definitely like looking forward to it. I'm enjoying it, but it does have like a totally different vibe. Let me see how far I am into it. I'm about 40% of the way through it. So I'm enjoying it well enough. I don't think I'll rate it as high as the first 3 Anne books, but you know, I still think it's good. I will still read the next 4 in the series. So yeah, that is my classic. I talked about my nonfiction, and then free run is my translated. So if you haven't been here before, I try to read 1 translated, 1 nonfiction, and 1 classic book every month, just to make sure my reading is diverse and I'm looking into a lot of things. Yeah, so I've already knocked those out. I knocked them all out pretty much this week. So pretty happy with that. Yeah, so that is what I'm currently reading. And then I'm also reading Old Man's War by, I have the other two sitting here, so don't mind me. I am also reading The Old Man's War by John Scalzi. Also a book that Curtis lent me. Thank you, Curtis. I am about 100 pages into it. I just finished part 1 of the book and I honestly really like it. I'm having a good time reading it. I have never been a huge sci-fi person, so that's kind of why I've been like pushing to be like, someone recommend me good sci-fi, which I'm also gonna push you guys to recommend me. But yeah, I've been trying to find good sci-fi, and thankfully like reading Ursula K. Le Guin and starting the Old Man's War trilogy has really made me interested in it. So I'm enjoying both Anne of Windy Poplars and Old Man's War. So yeah, that's kind of what I got going on this week. I hope you liked watching this video. Please comment any recommendations for me. I know a lot of booktubers probably say this, but I read quite a lot of your guys' recommendation. Yeah, so if you have any recommendations, please put those down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, you can give it a little like. That would be great for the algorithm. It'll show it to a lot of people if a lot of people like it. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more of my videos, you can go onto my profile. If you want to see more upcoming videos, you can subscribe. You'll get notifications. But you can turn on notifications to get notified when I post a new video. I mostly post videos on Sundays at noon, so that's where you'll see me. Yippee. I just hit 1,400 subscribers, so thank you. I'm so glad you're here. What else? What else is going on? The leaves are turning where I am, so my recommendation to you is go for a little hike. Go do an outdoor activity. Watch the leaves change. Also, try reading a genre you don't normally read, and then go visit your local library. I will see you all later. Goodbye!